Welcome to Dungeon Life, where we break down forgotten NPCs, take monster deep dives, and examine everything Dungeons and Dragons. Today, we're talking about one of the strangest, scrappiest, and most underappreciated races in all of Dragonlance and D&D, Gully Dwarves. You know dwarves, right? Stout, bearded, beer-loving blacksmiths who carve cities into mountains and hoard gold like dragons. Yeah, Gully Dwarves are not those dwarves. Imagine a race so disrespected that even goblins look down on them. A people so determined to survive that they can thrive in literal trash heaps. A society so primitive that their most advanced mathematical concept is 1 and 2, with 2 meaning anything more than 1. That's the Aghar, better known as Gully Dwarves. The outcasts of Krynn and one of the most misunderstood and least known races in all of Dungeons and Dragons. Gully Dwarves didn't exactly get a grand origin story. They weren't shaped by gods like the mountain dwarves or born from blood of a powerful deity like the elves. Nope. According to Dragonlance lore, they're the result of dwarves and gnomes interbreeding. Strangely, the union didn't go as well as you'd expect. The offspring weren't brilliant inventors like the gnomes, and they definitely weren't strong, proud craftsmen like the dwarves. Instead, they became small, weak, and completely unwelcome in both societies.
The dwarves cast them out. The gnomes ignored them. And with nowhere else to go, the Aghar ended up living in the places no one else wanted: sewers, ruins, caves, and swamps. Scavenging whatever they could to survive. Which, honestly, is kinda impressive. Most races in Dungeons and Dragons get wiped out if they don't have a stronghold or a god backing them. But Gully Dwarves? They made an entire existence out of living on scraps and being too stubborn to die. So, what's life like in a Gully Dwarf clan? Picture a group of about 10 to 20 filthy, half-starved survivors, all gathered in an abandoned city or a mud pit. They don't build things, they repurpose junk. Need a weapon? That rusted kitchen knife will do. Need armor? Throw some broken pots together. Their society is all about who can survive the longest. The strongest. Or the one who tricks the others into thinking they're the strongest. Becomes the leader. Often calling themselves something ridiculous like highbulb to sound important. Leadership is basically whoever yells the loudest and isn't dead yet. But the Gully Dwarves' most defining character trait? They are absolute cowards. And not in the fun, sneaky rogue kind of way. I mean, in the run screaming at the first sign of trouble kind of way. They aren't fighters. They aren't spellcasters. They are survivors. If a dragon shows up, they scatter like cockroaches. If a warlord conquers their home, they immediately start worshipping him. Their number one rule is, live another day. We understand our dirty little friends have an intelligence problem, but just how dumb are they? Well, Gully Dwarves are not smart. Like, really not smart. In Dragonlance Chronicles, Raistlin Majir meets a Gully Dwarf named Bupu, and it's clear she has the intelligence of a potato with anxiety. But, here's the weird thing. Gully Dwarves actually have incredible memories. They might not understand what they're looking at, but if they see something once, they never forget it. So, while they can't read, do math, or form complex thoughts, they can remember exactly where they saw that pile of food 6 months ago. Which, for their survival-based society, is basically all they need. Gully Dwarves are hilarious in the right campaign. Need an NPC who will believe literally anything? Grab a Gully Dwarf. Want a character who will run screaming at the first sign of danger, only to come back 10 minutes later with a stolen pie? Gully Dwarf. Are Gully Dwarves playable? If your DM allows it, absolutely. Just be ready for a character that struggles with communication, since Gully Dwarves barely speak properly. They have a complete lack of combat skills, unless hiding under the table is a skill. The Gully Dwarf just might be the best role-playing experience of your life. A well-played Gully Dwarf can be hilarious and heartwarming, a character so incompetent that they stumble into success. So, Are Gully Dwarves a joke race? Absolutely. Are they also one of the best examples of resilience in D&D? Also, yes. They aren't the noble mountain dwarves or the stoic Aghar. They don't forge legendary weapons or command armies. But they are the ones who survive when everyone else has been lost. So, what do you think? Would you play a Gully Dwarf? Or are they just too much for your campaign? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more deep dives into forgotten Dungeons and Dragons lore.